I'm gonna teach you a method of studying. It will transform your grades. It is gonna make studying a lot faster. With this method, I was able to memorize 1000 digits of E in one day, solve a 4x4 Rubik's Cube blindfolded, memorize a deck of cards in 5 minutes, and most importantly, saved a ton of time studying for exams. It makes studying kinda fun. And this method, ladies and gentlemen, is Mind Palace.
It's not an actual palace, it's rather a place that you know really well, like your house, your friend's house, your school, or it can even be someplace outside, away to a grocery store, a park, and so on. And then you will divide the place into small bits, which are called locations. These are specific places in your palace, like your desk in your house, or a bench. In this, you will visualize the things you want to memorize. Remember to group these into groups of 3. If you try to add more, you might keep forgetting. If less, you're wasting space in your mind palace. Though keep it more as a rule that is nice to follow, not a strict boundary. Sometimes it's better to visualize 4 things, as I will show you in one of the examples. Also, a very important thing is to not just put them here, but make these things interact. Give them the reason to be next to each other.
I'm gonna give you an example on how you can apply it to different subjects in school.
Geography. Let's say you have to memorize European countries. You group these into 3s. First on your list is Turkey, Greece and Bulgaria. So you will picture vividly your first location, in my case the toilet. And then you will convert these countries into things that can be visualized, like Turkey, greasy, bulk. So you will put in your location a bulky, greasy Turkey. If the order is important, make it a funny story. Turkey is sitting there, he is super hot, so he's sweating and starting to get greasy. The oil buildup is blocking the sweat from exiting his body, so the turkey starts to get bigger and bigger. He looks bulky now. With the rest, just go to your next location, which in my case is the sheep that holds toilet paper, and visualize the next countries here.
Try verify by yourself and type in comments how did it go.
German. I had to learn words, their meanings, different endings of these words, and the additional word that is at the end. It could be either sein or haben. First word was backen, to bake, book, gebacken, haben. Pause for a second and think how you would try to visualize it in your palace. I visualized it this way. Back from the Ice Age, holding cookies in a pink apron. The cookies are on a book. Gebacken haben part was regular stuff. Ge is added at the beginning of most of these, and haben is 80% of the time. So when there would be sein, I would just visualize something very colorful, or I would add a Rubik's Cube in the picture. Let's try a different one. Bieten, to ask, in the sense of beg, but in gebeten haben. I visualized a woman on her knees begging for something. Her knees would hurt from kneeling, so she is kneeling on a Bitcoin. Looking up, she sees a bat flying and a man standing there. This man is Patrick Bet David. It might seem long, but we are only visualizing 4 things. A woman kneeling, a Bitcoin, a bat, and Patrick Bet David. And I know that I told you to visualize 3 things per location, but sometimes it's better to squeeze one more or visualize just 2 things for convenience. In this case, I'm memorizing 4 things as one bigger piece. So there wouldn't be a reason to memorize 3 in one location and then 1 would be left to another. Saving space in my palace was super important, because I had 88 of these to memorize.
Holy shit, Polish school system is fucked up. One tip, if you have plenty of things to memorize and little space in your mind palace, you can have one location from 2 different angles, which will make it 2 locations. But anyways, you might say that this method won't work when you have to come up with these images right now, in the moment, in the heat of the situation. But nope, you couldn't be more mistaken.
On my philosophy classes, I've been asked about the question who Hegel is, and what was his philosophy, and his most important works, when I was standing in the middle of the class, and I answered the question, despite being under pressure, using Mind Palace. I visualized a JBL speaker, which for some reason sounded to me like Hegel, a ghost Casper, who reminded me of the phenomenology of spirit, and I visualized 2 people having a dialogue, which reminded me of dialectics, which states that every thesis has its own antithesis. History. You have to memorize dates, so what do? You can use a Mnemonic or a major system to convert numbers into letters, and letters into images that will end up in your mind palace. I suggest using the major system. We have to memorize that Christopher Columbus discovered America in 1492 on his ship called Santa Maria. We can visualize a Coca-Cola wrapped with American flag. You will most likely know the century because of the overdates on that exam, so you will memorize just 92, which converted gives us P and N. So we will put a pony inside of our location and will visualize a Mary standing there. To make it more memorable, I'd make it a story. Pony drinking cola, but it's embarrassed to drink soda in front of Mary, so it wrapped the bottle in American flag to not touch the sinful liquid. Creating a funny story where the objects interact with each other is gonna make it super memorable.
The common questions are: how long will it take me to learn to use this method? There's nothing to learn, bruv.
You just pick a place, pick locations, and go one by one through them, in the natural order. You wouldn't go from there to there and back to here. For how long will you remember the thing you memorized? For eternity. A year ago, I memorized 200 digits of pi, and bet that I would still be able to recall most of them. After a year, can I reuse palaces that had already been filled? Yes, but you will forget what was there before. I highly recommend reusing the same palaces though, especially the ones that stick to your memory like crazy. To memorize a deck of cards in under 5 minutes, I reused the same 3 mind palaces over and over again, and still without any problem was able to pass the challenge.
So as you can see, Mind Palace is super useful for memorizing stuff, which will come in handy for studying to school, for all different subjects. You don't have to make the images the same as the thing you wanna memorize. Sometimes the first thing that comes to your mind is the best thing. How the hell would Hegel remind me of JBL? Apart from ending with L, there's nothing in common. But for some reason it stuck to my head and I was able to recall it in the heat of the moment. So play with it, subscribe, type in comments if you're gonna use it for your next exam and what your next exam is gonna be about. If you wanna see me using Mind Palace to memorize 1000 digits of E, click on this video and see you until next time.